Hi, welcome back to Broomy's Garage. Time for some real work again. No more getting distracted, no more looking at shiny things. Time to start on this firewall fabrication. What I need really to, I guess, in my mind, look at what is sort of a finished car or starting to resemble a car again, is for this firewall to be done. So that's what we're going to do today. First things first is massive cardboard templates. I have cut this out, and as you can see, it is basically a box. So what my idea here is to do is basically to make a nice square box up the top almost where around the exhaust manifold, inlet manifold and cylinder head part of the engine. And then where the gearbox mounts up to, I'll put like a, dog kennel sort of area, or even like a wheelbarrow tub sort of looking arrangement where it's more rounded and contoured. I do actually I was going to do a nice rounded one around this part, but this makes better use of the space essentially. So I mean, the hard line out here and the hard line out there gets to the depth we need to pretty quickly, whereas if it was rounded, it's still going to be a bit fiddly to get the inlet and exhaust off, which I don't want. Basically got the template. This part will be the top part. Need to trace this out onto some steel, and then we'll cut it out, put it in our bender, trusty old bender that's still going strong, however many years on now that is. So if you want to check that out, there's a video, put it down in the description or something, in full boost we done ages ago. You would have seen it already, used a few times on this car. And yeah, let's start cutting, grinding, and some welding finally. Look at the rust on that. Alrighty, so we've got our sheet cut out, fair bit of patina on it. I'll just clean that off with a wire wheel because it's fine, it's just a little bit of surface rust, it's nothing, and then we'll get to bending. About ready to bend this up in our Super Bender 5000. Now, in terms of templating, I use this, it's called Ram board. And you'll find it in Bunnings or whatever. It's basically what tradies will use, and they'll put down on the floor in new homes. So when they trail whatever they're going through the house, their boots and equipment and stuff, they're not scuffing up the floor and leaving mud and stuff everywhere. When they're finished, they just rip this up and you've got a nice clean floor underneath. It's actually some pretty thick gauge cardboard. You can get it in a massive roll. I've got like a 90-meter roll or something, and yeah, it's perfect for that. And when I'm templating stuff, I use sort of the Goldilocks method in that I always make one too small and then I'll make one too large, and then I work out what's the best out of both of those. And then I make one that's just right, which is this one, which has got a big yes on it. So that's the way I generally go about it, rather than making just a massive one and then cutting it down smaller and smaller and smaller. I overshoot it, well undershoot it, what I think, and then I work out which one's the closest and then base it off that. And sometimes it just speeds it up rather than just making minor adjustments over and over and over again. All right, let's bend this up. Also, when you're bending, make sure you're bending on the wrong plane, on the right plane, the right way. I've definitely bent stuff the wrong way previously. That's a massive pain in the butt, basically. So that's pretty much it in terms of a 90. Pull that out, and you can see there I've sort of overshot it, and that's just because I want a nice crisp line there where I've bent, and it's pretty easy to slightly bend it back. So no worries about that. Yeah. Alrighty. And that is that. A bit of a wobble ball going on there, but I won't talk about that anymore. So templates cut, steel bent, and now it's time to weld it in. So I've just started here, and you can see what I mean by, just basically the cylinder head where the box part will be. And yeah, nice clean line there. That is where the steering rack normally goes and comes out. That's the brakes there. So obviously drive-by-wire pedal here, brake there, and then the rest of the tunnel there. So if we were doing a manual, it might not have worked very well at all. I wanted to keep the booster in this setup, just because the booster brakes are just nice and easier on the street sort of thing. Could run like a VF44, I think they are, remote booster, but then got to run lines to it. Where do you put it? This one all fits perfectly in location. All I really need to do is make some remote mount reservoirs. So trying to mount a master cylinder inside under this, under the dash, and that's going to be pretty hard anyway, and then having the service and stuff, just not use it. So now it's the arduous task of some more welding, and then sort of cutting it all up and making it fit. Probably come up here, go over there like a big, just a big hump basically, and then in the corners here and that, I'll just fabricate some individual pieces of, this piece will probably come straight down, and then where the hump is here, I'll make another piece that comes straight down, that'll block all that off. But yeah, after I've fabricated that and tacked it in, it will be time for gearbox and engine out. So once the engine's out, I'll be able to weld it both sides, so it's got super strength, no seam sealer, no paint, no anything. I don't think I can even put etch primer right. Engineer wants to see the raw welds essentially. So yeah, get that sorted and do all this, and I'll probably almost be at the point where I might take it to the engineer. I've just got to confirm with him. I think you might take it to the engineer just so they can see that you're on the right path, you're on the right track, and all that kind of stuff. And then yeah, and then it just keeps on keeping on sort of thing. So some of my thought process there. All right, let's get back into the welding and see how far we can get. Right, so I've got the rough shape of it in here now. Obviously it's absolutely massive, but this is basically, you need to start somewhere. You can't just like sit around and, wonder what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, otherwise nothing will ever get done. So I just wanted to, I know this box was definitely spot on. I wanted to cut this piece to get it in, an area where I thought was not too bad. And then from here, what I can start doing is, I might be able to cut a bit off here or cut it here and shape it around a bit more and stuff like that. So, whether I come up from the bottom and join it up to here, then cut back, whatever. But it's just a case of getting steel in here and doing some work. So you can see there, I can shape it up there perfectly later anyway. So I'll put a couple more tacks in place here, and then yeah, we can start probably planning what the tunnel actually sort of looks like. Yeah, probably trim it, be able to trim it right back into here, I think. But yeah, that'll be fine. All right, let's do some more welding. Progress. We have a box part of the tunnel and a top part as well. So, like I said, as you can see, this tunnel piece will go, but what I'll more than likely do is I'll start shaping some of up here in and folding this over to, because I'll be cutting this tunnel here, so it's got to come from down here to here, but yeah, I'll see how I go about that. That's a bit close, it needs to come out. So on this side it may just come straight down, but on that side we'll probably get away with recovering a bit more room there. So that, I'm happy with some progress there, but that's there's a fair bit more work to do there. So I need to tack everything in before I pull the engine and box out. I'm not going to do that until it, yeah, I'm not going to do the rest of the full welding and that until that comes out. All right, so 3 things to cover off from comments of people on YouTube and Facebook about the video and some oh, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. First one was brakes. People saying run the brakes inside the cabin. Won't be doing that because it just makes it ultra more complicated and stuff like that. Got to get custom pedal and all this kind of stuff. This setup works. It's off the shelf. I can go anywhere in Australia and basically get that master cylinder if I ever have a failure, no problems. We've got air gap between them. Don't have to run a remote booster or anything, so just easier. And I don't think, I've seen setups even closer than this in my time with a lot of heat shielding. It'd be fine. Second one was wheels. I asked people on like the Full Boost Facebook group and that about, I only know the Street Pro 2s. I'm not really a wheel buff. Give me some hints and tips of what might be out there. A fair few people commented back on some things, and the overwhelming sort of comment that I got from a couple of people that really resonated with me for this style of car, that suits this style of car, was OM Simmons or V5 Simmons. Now I know people are like going, oh, Simmons are on everything. Have a look at what Simmons are actually on everything. You'll find they're just the FR series Simmons, those 5-spoke whatever star Simmons. They're on everything. That's the Summernats earbuds. You do not see V5s on just about anything except for these kind of sort of 70s sort of cars and that. So it really suits that. I grew up with a lot of seeing V4 Simmons on a lot of cars back then. And so yeah, I'll see if I can get it. Only trouble is 15, so I need to talk to the engineer about if I can run a 15x8 up front and maybe 17x7 up here at the front and 15x8 at the rear. So last one was diff ratio. Now I had quite a few people actually message me privately and some back and forth in the YouTube comments around, can't run 345 with a ZF, ZF's too tall, blah, blah, whatever. Fair enough, however, just because the ZF, the Falcon in the ZF runs a 273 ratio doesn't mean it's not going to work in this, and I tell you why. Everything in this drivetrain, including the tyres, all factor in based on your road to your road speed. So I'm going to be running a 27-inch tall tyre, which is a 255/60/15. Now, the Falcon actually runs a tyre that's only 25.3 inches tall. So that means with a 417 ratio, 273 in the diff, and a 25.3 tyre, I think that makes first gear go out to about 60 k's an hour. Now, what I'm going to be doing with 417 first ratio on the ZF, 345 diff, but a 27-inch tall tyre means that it'll rev out to about 50 k's in first gear. So it's not a massive difference. And second gear was the same. It was going to be like 90 k's to I think 98 k's or something like that. With you know, especially with the 6-speed manual, like for like sort of thing. So I'm not overly worried about what this means. Because yeah, I've done the numbers on the whole lot and it looks completely fine. If anything, it'll be like nice and punchy out there on the street, which is what I wanted to do. It's a traffic light racer, not a drag strip racer. So that'll be all fine. If I decide to change gearbox later, I think I'd go to something like a 4L 80E, which has still got an overdrive, and then you can get a whole heap of ratios for the diffs. Now, the only other thing is I was talking about Borg Warners. Talked about Borg Warner stuff. I talked to my mate Glenn, he said you can get 31 spline axles and hemisphere and all this kind of stuff, and I added it up and it's going to cost, you'd end up costing the best part of $3,000 and still be left with sort of a Borg Warner, which would be a great diff, but I'm pretty sure I can get a Hilux very cheap that will fit. 30 spline axles factory, don't need to shorten it, don't need to touch anything, ever break an axle, just get another one and slot it right in. And then yeah, just need to find one with 345 center or just one without a center. There's lots out there without centers generally because they bust centers and stuff. So find a Hilux. If you've got a Hilux out there, just let me know. I think leaving the drums even on this thing might be okay because, you know, to have a Hilux, they've got to be rated to tow what they tow. So talk to the engineer about that as well. But yeah, I think that's a bit of an update on going back and looking at what happened last. Now, probably time to get back into some more welding. Last bit of weldy, and this is what progress looks like. So this overlap seam here and that little section there, I have to get the gearbox out first so I can push this out a bit and cut it directly flush and then weld that together. This needs to come across here flat, and the other side isn't done yet because you can see down there, there's a shifter rod, and until I've got the shifter and the rod, I don't exactly know how wide the tunnel needs to be on that side. But what you can also see is the dash is in, and fits perfectly. So as you can see there, it's bolted up to the factory steering column mount. Everything here lines up, so at least I know now. Dash, perfect. I'll get an insert here, and then I'll run some kind of modern digital dash, whatever brand it'll be, don't know. But yeah, you can see like even the radio's there. Realistically, I think I might be able to put the center console here, so I might have to take a look and see if that fits. But yeah, that is a fair bit of progress. All right, so I think that's about as far as I can go at the moment on the tunnel without finding anything else. I'm sitting on a pinch weld here, and it is absolutely ripping my a new one. So that's why you have rubber seals on cars. But yeah, I think I'll get a shifter and a linkage soon, and I can do that. But next, I'm going to start doing stuff like, now I know the dash fits and all that, I'm going to actually get my seats. I've got FD RX7 seats, so I'm going to fit those in here. I'll probably have to cut out what's in their factory and just weld in some new stuff anyway. So I'll get those seats out next week, and I might even start having a look to see what wheels fit this thing, and yeah, see if we can't order some wheels pretty soon. Got to get a diff first, but so all right, that should just about do us. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.